So I don't want to throw all my pennies into the pot and get my tongue tied up in knot. But I'm wondering about this whole thing of where everyone's kind of like, you know, the meme or this idea of demanding a ceasefire for this situation in the Middle East. To demand a ceasefire, so like the idea is that we need to request the military forces of both sides to stop fighting. And it's like, obviously, naturally, of course, we should stop fighting each other. The violence should stop. But how is asking for that the appropriate course of action? And how is it accomplished by people posting it onto the social media? Demand a ceasefire, letting you know that this is a genocide. It's like, yeah, this is a genocide. The fighting has to stop. But don't you think it's odd that, like, we're in this position to, like, request such a thing? It's like asking a bully to stop bullying you. You know? It's like, duh. And so I'm just like wondering, is that like the best that the minds of this country can come up with, the young people can come up with, is like protesting to demand a ceasefire? It's like, duh. But also like not duh, because like they're doing it. They're fighting. So what are you going to just step in there and say, "Look, I don't like what you're doing. Please stop." And that's going to solve it? When really, like, if you really look into, like, look into the root cause of these things, and it's all directly tied into money, right? To where basically every single person who's ever used money at all is tied into this. The average Joe, Sue, and Karen of America, whoever's paid taxes ever, whoever's ever paid any taxes on anything at all, has funded this. Everyone who's paid their internet bill, everyone who's bought groceries, everyone who pays the insurance for their car, everyone who pays, the whole money scheme is tied into the inequality of life on earth and the suffering of people, in lack, and then the people having too much, right? And then what people don't really seem to recognize is what religion is really all about. And I can't believe I just said that, because there's no way to unpack that in a concise video right now, what it's all about. But, this planet is caught up in some stuff that is far deeper than, like, just telling the guys with the guns to stop using the guns and the bombs. It's like, you're trying to reason with an evil force. You're trying to ask an evil force to not be evil. And I don't know, maybe I'm just retarded, but I'm like, when does the American person stop paying taxes and stop complying with this whole thing? Period. Because this whole thing didn't start on October 7th. It didn't start a couple months ago. This whole thing's been going on for hundreds, if not thousands of years. It's a religious holy war, and it has to do with the human rejecting God and disconnecting itself from the truth, from the source, and getting lost in the sauce of all types of mental confusion and ignorance and misidentification of the internal self with this limited ego, right? Caught up in all the compulsions and the drives of the lust and the desire and the greed. And the fact is that the regular old American, no matter what bracket of the fucking social class they are, just about every human is basically greedy and selfish and ignorant. It's like, that's the best you can do, is to say, like, hey, it's a genocide and stop shooting each other. Let's stop it. But like meanwhile, genocide and war and exploitation and these things have been going on every corner of the earth, every second of the fucking every day for a long, 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 long time. There's nothing new under the sun. This current conflict is the latest and greatest extension, the expression, the latest, the most recent fireworks, the most recent show, and it's approaching a crescendo, a climax, you know, as far as the story of drama of Earth goes. But it's like, when do you make like a more solid and substantial declaration, you know? When do you get up and stand up for your rights, right? Because you as an American are also in a concentration camp. That's something people I don't think realize, is that like concentration camps and genocide and this and that, this is all happening to the American people, to where, let's just say, every city in America, right? Every city is anti-life, to where the basic fundamental necessities of life, more or less food and water and air, they're all poisoned and compromised and polluted and like humans humans, their very basic foundational needs are all corrupted. Every human needs water, right? And then, yeah, over in Gaza Strip and all this, there's the whole thing of they're running out of food and water, and they don't have these basic needs, and they also don't know what exactly they really are as a human and what they're really capable of and what's really possible. So, like, this whole world is being filled up with useless eaters, essentially, and that's like an elitist Nazi term to call the people useless eaters. But like, if we're real honest with an assessment of ourselves, you know, comparing the fact that we're made in the image of God, and compared to how we live collectively, regularly, what our regular habitual pattern of living is, it's very much out of alignment. And it's so out of alignment that just like the regular, normal, standard, common societal person, what is considered normal and acceptable is really atrocious compared to what we were meant to be. And the thing about this whole physical reality, this world, this external world, is that everything going on outside truly, most definitely, is connected to what's going on within us. And what's within us is shared between us all. And so these seeds of violence and exploitation and just all these terrible things, these seeds are within all of us, unless we root them out and burn them out and transmute them. You know, the bad guys, all the bad guys, we all have that within us, even if we're good, tax-paying, job-holding American citizens. But the very root of money, is basically, it's all rooted in sin. It's all rooted in violence. It's all rooted in exploitation. It's all rooted in greed and power. And then everyone is always just like, you know, that's how the world works. There is no life on earth beyond money. That's just how it works. We live in a world, it's a capitalist world, and this is just how it is. And we just comply and we just like bend over and take it and go along with it and mumble and grumble and complain without realizing what our power really actually is. And it's amazing that our true power is somewhere within the ability to like just sit still for a couple moments. And I've noticed that just people have been conditioned to be too damn restless to ever come anywhere near any kind of sense of liberation or even any kind of clear thinking, holistic, objective thought and consideration and contemplation of the whole. Not just the little bits and pieces and the explosions and the fireworks that they want you to look at to have more and more reactions and more waves in the mind and disturbance in the energy of the being, right? To then drive further your cravings for satiation and some kind of relief. There's a lot of different tangents to this, and how do you draw it all together? It's like, and I don't even know why I turned this on to start saying it in the first place, but I just see all these people posting this stuff on a regular basis, and I'm just like, well, like, when do you just pause and maybe fast intentionally for a day or two, right? It's like, you want to demand that they stop fighting. Why don't you, like, stand or sit with the whole thing, right? Maybe don't go to work, Maybe stop working your fucking job. Because the only reason you work your job is because you are already a slave, and you have to meet an artificial demand for an artificial life that's been set up in every contrived manner that's completely disconnected from the natural flow of energy and creation and God and liberty on this earth. So, like, we're all in this together, bro. There might be an epicenter at this place that they call Israel. That might be the fucking focal point. But what's going on over there? We're all on the same freaking grid. We're all on the same battlefield. We're all caught up in the same age-old war. Right? Against the human spirit and the human potential and the sovereign potential of this planet and human, whatever we were made for, right? Whatever we were made for. We were not made to pay taxes. We were not made to be wage slaves. We were not made to stuff our faces with every kind of thing every single day and just go on and on and on, eating, and getting sicker and sicker and sicker and just believing lie after lie after lie and not having any ability to think and ascend. And it's like, man, if only you knew that basically everyone's like just cattle. You're just cattle. You will be eaten. You will be destroyed. Like, every human's destiny is to be perished. unless they find out the secret of their being. And that happens on a very, very minute, tiny scale out of the whole collective. For the most part, most human beings they're just bubble pack. On top of all that, the soul is truly immortal. And so you have all this death and dying. And from that, you have the arguments and the conflict, right? Which is all just milking the suffering, milking the loosh. When it's like, really, all those people dying, they're literally going to a better place. And then this gets into the idea of, oh, well, that's a religious belief. That's a dogma. That's a religious belief in an afterlife and a spirit and reincarnation and the soul. And it's like... Yeah, the elephant in the room, bro. The elephant in the room. All of the problems of human life come down to the denial and the rejection of what we commonly call as God, right? A higher power, a source, a creator. To where if that was truly recognized and attuned to and aligned to, there is no more problems, right? The problems in the world exist because people put their palates, they put their tongue and their genitals prioritized above everything else. And in the way of covering the tongue in sensation and fulfilling the desire of the genitals, in the way of that is all these hurdles and obstacles of the rat race, right? To get the kibbles and the bits, to get the private room and the bed to destroy your spine, to have the toilet to pollute the water, to just trickle out your constipation and your backed up everything. And just the way of the world, the way of the modern human it's already dead. It's already a dead, zombified, stupid, calcified thing. All the meanwhile, the true nature of the spirit and this creation is wonderful, marvelous, spectacular. And this whole thing is a drama and an illusion. But you got to know that the number one force responsible for every death, no matter how it occurs, is God. Right? We, as humans, are not doing anything, good or bad, or however you might want to judge it and categorize it and assess it. There is only one power, one force, one origin, one source that is seemingly made into all these parts and pieces that make this world. But the metal and the chemistry that makes a bomb and a gun work, these are all natural laws. These all happen with the elements. These happen with the elements: earth, air, fire, wind, water, and ether. The Shakti, the prana, the energy. All energy that human uses, whether it's from food or breathing or from this thing or that thing, the machines digging the oil, the electrical this and that's, the generators, the solar, no matter what no matter what you want to call the material that is, the material is just an illusion from an all-encompassing, completely, the whole thing is energy. And the whole thing is all one. The whole thing is all one. And a human being is simultaneously nothing and everything. You got to know that about your being as a body incarnated. Your body is the most precious thing in the cosmos, and you're just a drop in the ocean. It's the paradox, You are a star, you are a diamond, you are a jewel, you are a gem, you are something truly sacred, but so is everything else. And what's truly sacred about the self, the I, is deeper and beyond the body. Though it also includes the body. But this is just silly because I'm putting this onto the camera and I'm doubtful that my words are really saying what I'm truly attempting to convey. Because what I'm trying to convey, I'm speaking from a place of a knowing of something that is beyond language altogether. And it's something that I can't prove to people. It's just that it's an experience, it's a knowing from within. And part of this knowing is just that everyone is pretty much bamboozled and duped and just caught up in these things, these illusions of the mind. And while all the while it all seems like it's going to shit and to hell in a handbasket, truly everything is perfect. But what's the point of this? I don't know. So everything is perfect. You really can't change the world or save it in any which way. All you can really do is mind your immediate realm and choose and prioritize your relationship to God, the creator, the maker of all, the Most High. And in that, you root out all the dross, all the coal, all the dark lead. You change all that over into something golden within you. For what? That's the other thing, too. Is there a point or a goal to all this? Is there anything really to be done? Is there even alchemy to be done? Or is it all already done? And you're really not here to engage in the simulation, but to wake up from the simulation. But every single second, every single day, humans are murdering countless life forms all the time just to have their basic life that they call life. It's already dead. The American is already dead. The American nation is a concentration camp. Your food and your water has been poisoned. All of it is poisoned. And your whole lifestyle that you were taught and conditioned and groomed to play out is against the creator. You've been duped. And it's crazy too because the illusion, the duping is all part of God's plan. Because we're just noodles getting boiled, right? Until we're soft enough to be considered done. And then what? On to the next turd, I guess. And that lands, and it goes through the process that material goes through, always transforming. And something more grows. And as things grow, they also wither and die. And it just keeps going and going and going. But like, it's amazing that Americans don't realize that they could just stop paying taxes. Collectively, in unison. It's like we'll all argue and protest and post all this truth information about how the government is corrupt and evil and all this type of stuff, but we just won't stop paying and playing. We won't stop playing. You know? It's like when you set up the game of Monopoly and you all get into it so deeply and you all end up with a fucking huge fight because of some conflict when it's just a fucking board game and all the money is fake.